It was an announcement that shocked the footballing world. This is the statement, or part of it, that Spurs put out. We were extremely reluctant to make this change, and it is not a decision the board has taken lightly, nor in haste, but we do so in the club's best interests. Craig Burley, what do you think?
I could understand it if the two of them had sat down as in the boardroom, or the groups had sat down, him and his advisors, the Tottenham board, and said, listen, for both parties we need to make a change because it's a little stale. Results have not been great in the last probably 6 months. Even though they got to a Champions League final, the league form's not been good. Certain players want to leave. But to just come out and say, as a board, we've made a decision, we're going to sack him, it's a bit like when Ranieri won the league at Leicester and then he was out. You know, I know things change, but it just seems, you know, we cannot talk about loyalty in sport now, whether it be players, coaches, boards, owners. There just is no loyalty. I mean, 6 months or less than 6 months ago, they won the Champions League final. Spurs could never have dreamed of that before Mauricio Pochettino got to the club. Never have dreamed of it.
It's interesting you bring up that point because once Spurs made the statement, the club's server broke because everyone was saying, sack, really sack, trying to see exactly what was going on. I think many expected it would be mutual agreement indeed if he did go.
Yeah.
But this is a deal that Daniel Levy has decided that he wanted to break.
I could understand if the problems at Spurs were down to Pochettino. But the truth is, the problems at Spurs are not down to Pochettino whatsoever. You got half the first team want to leave because of the contracts. That is not Pochettino's problem. The reason, or half the reason that it's stale, is because there has been no money to give Pochettino the opportunity to bring players in. And I don't mean one. I mean, they signed in Dembele, but to keep things fresh and to keep competition, you have to have players coming in all the time and just keeping it fresh. That hasn't been allowed to happen. So when it goes stale, why is it Pochettino's fault? It's not his fault. And I would have thought he had enough in the bank from what he's done in 5 years that going through a bad patch, which everybody does, they would have seen it through with him, but clearly not.
And that's the amazing thing for me. Not only do you not back Pochettino in previous years, where he continued to exceed expectations in my regard, but the excuse then was, we're building a new stadium. Now the stadium is completed and you wonder if the purse strings would be loosened. It's the same again. And despite that, you allow the likes of Eriksen, Alderweireld and Vertonghen and Rose, arguably £200 million worth of players to go out of contract. If you'd sold them previously, maybe he has a war chest that he can rely on. But I feel that Pochettino has been let down by Levy and the Spurs board, yet despite that, continue to provide fantastic league finishes, a Champions League final, and now a third of the way into this current season where they have been poor by their own standards. You let them go, it makes absolutely no sense to me.
But they're good players.
They are very good players.
They're good players, and they're better than any... Look at Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Brighton. How many of those players get into the Spurs starting 11? These are good players.
Listen, there's one thing, regardless of ability, there's one thing that will kill a team and players. It's when they get comfortable. So you add the 4 players who want away, who Pochettino hasn't been playing because of that. Everybody's comfortable. Everybody knows who's going to play when they're fit.
But they were comfortable last year and they made it in the Champions League final, didn't they? Because they didn't bring anyone in last summer.
Dan, it doesn't last forever. And there's not a particular switch that makes you comfortable, you know, but I'll tell you what does make you comfortable. No competition. You need to have competition to keep you on your toes. And at Spurs, right now, there ain't no competition. And everybody's comfortable.
If Tottenham really wanted to go again, they would have spent big in the summer, as big as they could, particularly off the back of getting to a Champions League final. But they didn't. And let's see now all this I Love Tottenham brigade, because we'll see what Harry Kane does and quite a few others. Because I've always said, when Pochettino goes and Levy continues to run the club in the way he runs it, which is from a business perspective probably pretty well, let's see how many remain. Because if I was Harry Kane, and I'm picking him out as the main man, who would probably be on the list of the top 5 clubs in European football, why the hell would you stay at Tottenham Hotspur? You've just lost one of the best young managers in the game, no matter about results in the last 6 months, because there will be other clubs, oh, by the way, willing to offer him a job, bigger clubs in Tottenham. So why would I stay? Why would I stay when I know Eriksen's not happy, and I know Vertonghen's not happy, Alderweireld, Rose, the list, Mora's on the bench, hardly getting a game, all these players. If I'm Harry Kane, why would I stay? And once Harry Kane, the main man, along with the manager, decides it's time to go, then it's just it's a rolling stone there that's just gathering moss. And then we'll see if the board are coming out and saying, well, it was a good decision to sack Mauricio Pochettino. Was it?
What's the mindset of the board here? I'm trying to get
results. They've seen bad results. Right, they've seen some players. They've also seen, in all fairness, they've also seen Pochettino whining quite a bit, which he has, and they've seen all that and thought, yeah, things are looking stale here. We're going to go in a different direction.
I think Pochettino's entitled to whine. I am certain that over the last few years, promises have been made and they've been broken. He hasn't been given the kind of money that he thinks he deserves and needs to keep Spurs competitive. Yet, despite that money not coming in, he continues to produce not just good league finishes, but we've spoken about them in the Champions League, another competition. They're poised to go through the knockout stage this season in yet again. And then all of a sudden, 12 games into a new season, results aren't following in the way that you hope or you've come to expect, even though you yet again don't back him. And you feel that this is a sign of a manager who's somehow lost the dressing room or no longer good at what he does. I think they will live to regret this decision. I really, really do.
But it's good for him.
It's fantastic for him.
It's fantastic for
£12.5 million payoff.
Yes, I mean, that apart, which is pretty good. I think it's great for him because, look, 5.5 years or whatever it was, same battles, watching Liverpool and City in particular, really pushing the boat out, trying to keep up with them, trying to fight in the European front, trying to play a style of football that's entertaining, and balance everything else. I think it takes its toll, and I think from his perspective, he can go away, take stock for whatever it is, and he'll still be on the lips of almost all the top teams when they're looking for a manager.
Is it a shock that a board who makes such a daft decision doesn't understand why Pochettino's so good? At the end of the day, 90% of this Tottenham side was all the players were found for, not that much money. You think it's the Dele Alli. Kane was nothing. Vertonghen, Eriksen, nobody really wanted him at Ajax. So you go through the whole side, you can only get away with that for so long. You can't expect to just keep pulling out all these nuggets all the time. And the only way you avoid that is by spending money to keep topping up the nuggets that you've got. Oh, and by the way, look after the nuggets you've got by giving them proper contracts that make them want to stay at the club. So, listen, this board have absolutely shot themselves in the foot.
The other thing that you have to consider or remember is that, just over 18 months, maybe 20 months ago, Pochettino signed a new 5-year contract. And had he not signed that contract, 2 or 3 months later, you had the likes of Real Madrid who were interested, Manchester United interested. Now he's free. And we'll see what this season throws up in terms of big clubs and who is looking for a manager at the end of this deal.
Well, never mind end of the term. What if Bayern? If we think that Bayern Munich and Real Madrid and clubs like that are probably and have been interested in this guy, what do Man United do? What do they do now? Right? Because they've had a few good results recently. Not brilliant, but a few decent ones. Some players coming back from injury. Do they sit in the hands again and wait and think, well, we'll do nothing and see what... And then he pops to Munich or Madrid or wherever it is. So what do United do? Because they've been steadfast in saying, no, Solskjaer's, he's the guy, we believe in him, we're going to go youth. Or do they say, well, actually, that was just all a bit of phony talk and we're going to move from him? I mean, what do they do?
We talk about them being fantastic at the business side of it at Manchester United. And to do that, whoever runs it has to be cutthroat. Now, are they going to be cutthroat when it comes to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? Because that's the right thing to do. And they will always say, I'm doing this for the good of the company when it comes to business. And so to get rid of Solskjaer and put Pochettino in is the right thing to do.
I was going to say, do you think
will they do it?
Right. If they did that, what would your reaction be if Pochettino went in there? Would you sit up and think, give this guy money? He could really have a go at sitting in Liverpool here.
From a professional point of view, it's the right thing to do. Unfortunately for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it's a little harsh But you know what? At the end of the day, it's about Man United. It's not about hurting somebody's feelings.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.